Not all men leave heirs. Not all men are remembered by name. But some men build such clean structure that it outlives them without attribution. It echoes through time as architecture, not ancestry. This is legacy without lineage. Most men confuse legacy with replication. They want sons to carry their name. They want followers to quote them. They want monuments, memoirs, and museums. But what if your deepest work was never meant to be linked to you? What if the structure you leave behind isn't a family line, but instead a frequency? For men who die with hundreds at their funeral and leave no legacy, and there are men who die alone, but whose silent architecture becomes the framework for generations of coherence. Because legacy is not measured in visibility, it's measured in structural inheritance. What did you build that made it easier for men to walk in truth? What distortion did you absorb so it wouldn't pass forward? What did you hold that others could not? That is the legacy that requires no name, no lineage, no applause, no recognition. This isn't the legacy that can be passed down in a will. It's not a business, a title, or a fortune. It's not genetic, it's field-based. It's memory encoded into structure. It's the way a man reshapes time just by living in coherence when everyone else has collapsed. There's an unspeakable nobility in building what you know you may never see the fruit of, to plant without harvest, to construct without credit, to carry without praise. It's a form of sacred anonymity. You see, you're not building for lineage, you're building for the field, and the field never forgets. The incoherent man lives only for legacy through replication. He wants to be quoted, he wants to be admired, he wants to be remembered by name. But the coherent man, he knows attribution is fragile. He builds what lasts, not what looks like it will. Just look at history. Many of the most influential structures were built by men whose names you may never know. Cathedrals, temples, scrolls, systems, rivers redirected, not by kings, but by quiet men of impossible discipline. They may not have written books, but they became the books. They may not have trained their sons, but they trained the field. They did not demand remembrance. They built what could not be erased. Legacy without lineage is the way of the unseen architect. He shapes culture without ever standing on a stage. He shifts timelines without posting about it. He walks through families and communities and generations like a myth, known only by the residue of what he refined. You don't see him, but you feel what he left. This is the kind of legacy that doesn't care who remembers, because its only aim is structural coherence. It doesn't speak in bloodlines, it speaks in transmission. It speaks in the shape of the lives that were made cleaner by his architecture. There's a moment in every man's life when he realizes he may not be followed. His children may not understand him. His friends may not support him. His brothers may call him extreme. His partner may ask him to soften. And still and yet he builds, because the field is watching and the field remembers. Legacy without lineage is not loveless. It's not cold. It's not detachment from family or friends. It's the clarity to see that the real inheritance is not your story, but your structure. And structure doesn't need to be remembered. It needs to hold. When a man lives this way, he becomes unshakable. He's no longer moved by who follows. He's no longer dependent upon being seen. Because he knows he's building what will one day make sense to someone he will never meet. And that someone may walk straighter because he held the line. This is the father who healed his rage so his son would never need to. the builder who said no to profit to protect the integrity of the work, the man who walked alone so others could walk freely. He left no statue, no name etched in stone, but the foundation still stands, and that's all that matters. So if you're not followed, build anyway. If your name is forgotten, build anyway. If your structures are dismantled by those who do not understand, build anyway. Because every clean structure becomes part of the invisible cathedral of coherence, and in time, the world will walk through what you shaped without ever knowing your name. This is legacy without lineage, and it is incorruptible. Welcome to The Architect Speaks.